Today we are going to be doing blood groups. Okay, so basically, if you have watched some movies at some point, or you have had someone at the hospital, or maybe you once incurred an injury and you needed to have blood, they would test Uti, do you have anyone that matches your blood? For example, each and everyone has got it. Basically, okay, I'm trying to say that here, each and every individual has got their own blood type. Okay, each and every individual has got their own blood type. If our blood types matches, I can be able to donate blood for you. Okay. If my blood type matches with yours, I can be able to donate blood to you. If you get an injury, I can just donate blood and you'll be healed, you'll be fine. This is because each and every person has got their blood groups. So basically, what are those blood groups? We actually have got 4 blood group types. We have got the first type, we have got blood type A. So the first blood type that we have is blood type A. We also have got blood type B. We also have got blood type AB as well as blood type O. So these are the 4 main blood group types that we have. Okay. So for grade 12, we're just going to do the 4 main ones. But if you later on study anything that will have to do with biology or genetics or anything like that, you will need to know the further specifications of each and every blood type. But basically, there are 4 main blood group types. So it means that each and every individual that we have here on earth, each and every human that is living on earth, either has got blood type A, has got blood type B, has got blood type AB, or blood type O. Okay, so basically each and every individual, they must have at least one of these. So basically these blood group types, they're not really unique to an individual. Okay, for like example, if we compare DNA, your DNA is unique to you. That is your DNA. It's a unique thing. But when it comes to blood groups, we can share blood groups. I can have blood group type A. You can also have blood type A as well. So basically, these are not unique to the individuals. Each and everyone, they've got a certain blood group type, but it must be at least one of these because there are 4 in total. So we've got 4 blood group types. And then now when we're looking at the genetics of it, we have got these blood group types that are being controlled by 3 alleles. So we have got 3 alleles. And shall we say that we have got 4 blood group types, and then we say that we have got 3 alleles that are controlling these blood group types. So there are 3 alleles that are controlling the blood group types. So remember, guys, that the alleles, these are just the variations of the genes, right? These are the variations of the genes. So basically, we have got 3 alleles that have to do with blood types. The first allele that we have that is connected to blood types, we have got IA. So this is IA. It is I with a capital letter A on top. So this is the first blood type A allele that we have. This is the first allele that is controlling blood type. The other one that we have is I
Science
with B on top. May I please close your mic, Makulasave Matebola? Okay, thank you. All right. So basically, we have got IA. This is the first allele that controls blood types. We have got IB. This is the second allele. And then the third allele, it is small letter O. All right. So I need to explain each and every alleles one by one so that you guys can have an idea how these alleles control the blood types. All right. So basically, the blood type A allele, this one, it is a dominant allele. So this is a dominant allele, and it is found in a person that has got blood type A. So this is a dominant allele that causes blood type A. So this I with a capital letter A on top, this capital letter A on top, it shows that it's a dominant allele. So we can never have a I with a small letter on top because it is never recessive. So the alleles that are controlling these blood group types, they are never recessive, okay? I mean the A and the B, they are never recessive. So this I with the capital letter A on top, this is the dominant allele that is controlling or that is resulting in blood type A. We also have the second one, which is the one resulting in blood type B. So for the one resulting in blood type B, it is I with a B on top, kind of like an exponent. Okay, it is also a dominant allele as well. So it means that it shows itself in the phenotype. It is the one that controls the blood group type. So this allele with a B on top, it is responsible for making the blood type to be type B. Okay. And then we have got this small letter I. This small letter I is the only recessive allele that we have. So this is the only recessive allele that we have. This one, it is usually used for us to be able to have a blood type O. But we're going to see how that happens. But we've got these three alleles. These are the very major alleles that control the blood types. But we need to understand, how do they control the blood types? For you to say that you've got blood type A, what alleles are you supposed to be having? Because remember, guys, that each and every person has got a pair of chromosomes, a homologous pair of chromosomes. So you are not expected to only find one allele. In a gene, we are expected to find two alleles. We are expected to find two alleles. So now let's try to see each and every blood type, which alleles is it supposed to be having out of these three. Okay, so the genotypes for the blood groups, we have got blood group A, all right? So for blood group A, remember, guys, I said that for blood group A, the allele that controls blood group A, it is this allele with I with a capital letter A on top. This is the allele that is used, or this is the allele that controls. So this allele, I with the capital letter A on top, it is the one that is responsible for resulting in blood type A. So the genotypes that you can have for blood type A, whenever we say that someone has got blood type A, what alleles do they have in their chromosomes, basically? So they can have two of these alleles, and all of them, they are dominant alleles. So this is like AA. Remember, guys, there must be two alleles per gene. For us to have a genotype, we must have two alleles. That's just as we've been doing. So here, for us to say that you are blood type A or you are blood group A, it means that you must have these two alleles, these two dominant alleles. So both of these, I say that they are dominant alleles. So we'll say that that is a homozygous. This is mixed up. This is a homozygous dominant for blood type A. So we'd say that someone who's having these two alleles, we can say that is homozygous dominant. So this is homozygous dominant. So this is homozygous dominant for blood type A, because we're having these alleles that indicate blood type A. This is IA, I to the power A as well. So the presence of these two alleles that are having an A, a capital letter A on top, it is the one that results in blood type A. So this is the first possible blood type. This is the first possible genotype that we can have for blood type A. Okay, so whenever they say that you've got blood type A, it is possible that you've got these two alleles next to each other on homologous chromosomes. But it can also happen that you have got this allele, I with a capital letter A on top, as well as this I, which is a small letter. Remember, guys, when we talked about the dominance of these alleles, we clearly stated that this I, this small letter I, it represents their recessive allele. Okay, so it is a recessive allele that is controlling the blood types, or it is controlling the blood group types. So basically, this recessive allele, it still acts in a recessive manner. Remember, guys, we say that recessive alleles, they do not show up in the phenotype of the organism. Okay, they do not show up in the phenotype of the organism. The recessive allele, it is masked. It is not shown in the phenotype. In this case, our phenotype is just the blood group type. So basically, this recessive allele, this small letter I, it will not be shown in the phenotype. If we try to compare what's happening here, you guys can see that this one is a dominant. This is a dominant allele for blood type A, the one that I told you first about. And this small letter I, it is a what? It is a recessive allele. So having a dominant and a recessive alleles, we already stated that this condition is a heterozygous condition, because you have got a combination of a dominant allele with a recessive allele. Just like in the normal monohybrid crosses that we've been doing, it is like saying you've got capital letter H and small letter h, whereby the capital letter H is a dominant allele, small letter h is a recessive allele. So this is a heterozygous condition type of. So in this case, if you are having this this allele I with an A on top, this I with an A on top, I think all of us can see it. This one. this I with a capital letter A on top. This is a dominant allele for blood type, right? So this dominant allele for blood type, it is now combined with a recessive allele. So which one will show in the phenotype? It is the dominant one. And the dominant one, remember guys, we say that it is the one responsible for the blood type A. That is why it's written A on top. So it means that this person would have a blood type A. So this small letter I here, it is not having any effect. It is a masked, it is suppressed. It is not shown in the phenotype. It is not shown in the blood group. So the blood group of this person is going to be blood group A. Why is it blood group A? It's because the dominant allele, it is for blood group A, as I've already explained, to say that the dominant allele for blood group A is this one. So whenever this dominant allele is present for blood group A, we already know that a recessive one will not have any effect on the phenotype. It will not have any effect on the blood group. The blood group of this person will still be blood group A because of the presence of this allele. Do you understand me, Gretel? How to get it? Yes, so this is a heterozygous condition. So we say that this person would be heterozygous for blood type A. Their blood type, it is still A. That is the phenotype, right? That's the blood type that we're having. So it is heterozygous for blood type A. Same applies for B, guys. It's still the same trend. Now that you already understand the trend, we're just going to walk over on each and every one there. If we look at B, blood type B, remember I said that it is controlled by this allele, I with the capital letter B on top. So if we are having these two alleles, I with the capital letter B on top, I with the capital letter B on top, these are two dominant alleles that are coding for blood type B. So this is a homozygous dominant. So if a person has got these alleles, or if the person has got this gene consisting of these two alleles, which is a dominant B and a dominant B, it means that is going to be a what? A homozygous dominant. So this person is homozygous dominant for the blood type B in this case. Homozygous dominant for the blood type B. How do we see that is blood type B? Obviously, guys, there's a B on top there. That capital letter B, it shows us that this is controlling or this is responsible for making blood type B. Okay, so this is homozygous dominant for blood type B. We also have the similar combination of heterozygous as well, because this blood type B, remember, this allele controlling blood type B, we say that it is dominant. It is a dominant allele. We declared it here when we were beginning to say that this allele, which is IB, it is a dominant allele. It is a dominant allele. So if we put it with this small letter I, which is a recessive allele, the small letter I is suppressed. It won't be shown in the phenotype of the offspring or of the individual. It will not be shown in the blood group of the individual. Instead, the allele that will determine the blood group to which this person belongs, it is this one with the capital letter B because it is the dominant allele. So this is just the Mendel's law of dominance, simply Mendel's law of dominance, to say that when we are having a heterozygous condition, the dominant allele is the one that is shown in the phenotype, whereas the recessive allele, it remains masked or it is not shown in the phenotype. So this IB, this I with the capital letter B, is a dominant allele. Hence, it is the one that determines, or it is the one that is responsible for declaring this blood type to be blood type B. Yes, Sam?
So, sir, if maybe we are going to hospital and you want to check your blood type, they will see the dominant one, ne?
Yes, they're gonna analyze. Yes, they do have a techniques to see that, but they will see the dominant one. Very, the dominant one determines. It is according to Mendel's law of dominance, it is the one that will be shown in the phenotype. But when you go to the applications of this, where they have got machines that can do that. They've got machines that can do that to say, so when you take a blood sample, how do you see the alleles actually? Yeah, but basically the dominant one is the one that is responsible for making the blood type to be B or to be A or to be whatever it is. So this is still a heterozygous condition. But this heterozygous condition that we're having here, it is for blood type E. So you're having the allele for blood type B and a small letter I. That small letter I, we say that it's a recessive allele. The recessive allele is responsible for blood type O. We're going to see how it works, but this recessive allele is responsible for blood type O. But because it is recessive, it is masked. It cannot be seen in the phenotype, cannot be seen in the blood group. It cannot determine the blood group. The dominant one is the one that will determine the blood group. And in this case, it is I with the capital letter B. This is the dominant allele that makes this blood group to be E. Okay. Now let's make another combinations. I'm sure we're having these three alleles. We can make multiple combinations in our genotype. What if we are having IAIB, something like this, IAIB? So now you are having two dominant alleles. Both of them, they are dominant, but they are different. So it means that all of them, they are dominant. They are equally dominant, but they are different from one another. That is why we are putting different letters on them. Remember, guys, when we were explaining this thing of complete dominance, we said that if we're talking about complete dominance, the capital letter, it is a dominant one. The recessive one, it is a small letter, but it is the same letter, of course. But now, when it comes to other dominance types, we can have maybe BB being crossed with WW, something like this, okay? So both of them, they are equally dominant because all of them, they are dominant, right? So basically, if it happens that you are having a dominant allele, which is this A, and the dominant allele, which is this B, both of them, they are dominant alleles because I already told you guys when we began that these two alleles, the A and the B, they are dominant alleles. So if you put them at the same position, let's just say that you're having a genotype in which both these alleles are dominant alleles for blood type. So this is known as blood type AB. We now call it AB because both of them are now shown in the phenotype. It is blood type A combined with blood type B. So it's no longer just blood type A, it's no longer just blood type B, but it's now blood type AB. Where is this AB coming from? It is a combination of a dominant allele A and a dominant allele B. They are equally dominant. Yes, Nwako.
Sir.
Yes.
So if someone has like a blood type AB, so which means he can be able to donate blood for individual that has blood type A and blood type B, right?
Not really. I don't think so. Definitely not. You must have matching blood type, completely matching. You don't really donate like per allele. You don't really donate per allele because I think what maybe the idea that you are getting is that this person has got both the alleles so they can donate one. But when you are actually donating blood, what's most important is for them to match completely. You cannot really donate it partially to say that this person has got blood type AB. They can donate to someone with blood type A and also to someone with blood type B. I don't think that's physically possible. Usually we need to have a match. That is why whenever an accident happens and you lose a lot of blood, they first look for your relatives before they look for other blood samples. Okay. Yeah, but when it comes to the people that are having blood type AB, they cannot really donate, right? They cannot really donate to others, but they can receive. I think they can receive blood from others. They can receive blood from others, but they cannot donate it to others. I think something like that. But if you are curious more, go and do more research, especially if you guys are interested in medicine and stuff like that. But I think that they can only receive from other blood types, but they cannot really donate. They cannot donate, yeah. They shouldn't be able to donate, but they can receive. So you guys should study the science behind that if you're interested. Yes, Sam?
Sir, so this means it's either codominant or incomplete dominant.
Yes, that's the question now. What dominance are we having here? Is it codominance or is it incomplete dominance? I will hear from you guys. Which dominance is this blood type AB having? These alleles in the blood type AB, what dominance are they having? What dominance would you say that these are having?
It's codominance.
Why codominance, Vuvu?
Because blood group A no blood group B bobabini bayavela ngokulingana.
Yeah, bayavela ngokulingana in the phenotype, guys. They show up in the phenotype. Both the alleles are expressed in the phenotype, right? Remember, guys, when we have got incomplete dominance, we have an intermediate phenotype. We have a completely new phenotype. We did the types of dominance last time, guys. We've got a completely new phenotype if we have got an incomplete dominance. But if it is a complete, if it is a codominance, both of them are expressed in the phenotype. Similarly here, both allele A and allele B are shown in the final blood group, and the blood group is AB from the name. Yes, Owami?
I was going to answer your question, say, it's because all blood group A, not blood group B, are both dominant, and therefore is about codominance.
Yes, codominance. Both of them, they are dominant. But remember, guys, if both of them are dominant, we've got two possibilities. It's either incomplete or it can be codominance. But how would you see the final result? Because the genetic crosses are the same. Remember, guys, we discussed that last time too. The genetic crosses for codominance and incomplete dominance is exactly the same. The only difference is the phenotype. In this case, our phenotype is the blood group. So the blood group is AB. It has got both A and B in it. So it shows that these are all appearing in the phenotype. Okay, and then the last blood type that we have got blood type O. And blood type O, we are having these two recessive alleles. Remember, guys, I said that the recessive allele, this small I, the recessive allele, is responsible for blood type O. It can only be expressed in a homozygous recessive condition. Otherwise, it cannot be expressed in a phenotype. You guys already know that the recessive allele can only be expressed in a homozygous recessive state. It must have another recessive allele next to it. Otherwise, if there's a dominant allele, it's going to mask it. So for this blood type O, to show in the phenotype, it must only show in a homozygous. So it can only show in a homozygous recessive. Otherwise, if this is a heterozygous condition, meaning that maybe we combine a dominant allele with this small letter I, the dominant allele will be the one that shows in the phenotype. A dominant allele will be the one that shows in the phenotype. But if both of them are recessive and they are forming the genotype, you now say that this recessive now is expressed. So the recessive allele is only expressed if the condition is homozygous recessive. If it happens that it has got another recessive allele next to it. Otherwise, if I put this one, it's a dominant one, and I put the small letter I, now the dominant one will show in the phenotype. Hence, this will become blood type A, and it will be way different. Yes, Sam?
So, sir, the blood type O can donate for A and B.
Blood type O donating for A and B. I think if the A and B are in a heterozygous condition, yeah. I think if A and B are in a heterozygous condition, blood type O can be able to donate for them. Yeah. You guys can go and confirm that. But I think so. But we cannot really say that blood type A must donate for blood type O. Right? That cannot work. That will certainly not be able to work. But we can say that this blood type O, I think they can donate to blood type A and blood type B only if they are heterozygous. Yeah. But if you guys are interested in that, please apply for that university. You guys are in great health. Apply for that university. Do that course if you are interested. Do medicine, do radiography, do physiotherapy, do everything that is to do with that. And by the way, guys, you should apply. Spaces are limited. Spaces are limited in tertiary institutions. It is very important for you to apply. Applying season is on right now. Please figure out the career that you want, not the career that your friends want or anyone, not even your family. Something that you want, something that you are called for, something that you will enjoy doing the rest of your life, all right? So make sure, guys, you apply as well. Okay? I think we already see doctors here. I already feel like we've got a lot of doctors just from this session. Yeah. But these guys are a blood type, the blood group types that we have, as well as the alleles controlling them. So remember, guys, we're having 4 blood types, but we've got only 3 alleles controlling them. Don't confuse the thing, guys. 4 blood types is blood type A, blood type B, blood type AB, and blood type O. But only 3 alleles control blood types. It is the dominant allele for A, this one, the dominant allele for B, this one, and the dominant allele or the recessive allele for blood type O, which is small letter I. These are the only alleles. There are 3, but there are 4 blood types. Are we together, grade 12s?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you guys get that, right? Okay, let's just try to determine, using genetic crosses, determine the blood groups. Let's just say we have got a man here. Remember, guys, monohybrid crosses are the ones that work here for all these concepts that we are doing. Blood types, sex determination, everything. So a man that is having blood type AB and a woman who is heterozygous for blood type, let me just shift this, for blood group B. Heterozygous for blood group B, they plan to have children. Now the question will come and say, first of all, number A, how many alleles control the inheritance of blood groups? How many alleles control the inheritance of blood groups? Let's hear from you guys. How many alleles?
Three alleles.
Yes, there are 3 alleles, guys. 3 alleles that are controlling. So we've got 3 alleles that are controlling blood types. How many blood types are we having in total?
4.
Yes, 4 blood types, exactly. Awesome. Now describe the type of dominance that occurs in the inheritance of blood group B in the woman. Here, let's go. Describe the type of dominance that occurs in the inheritance of blood group B in the woman. Read the question very carefully. Describe what type of dominance is expressed in the inheritance of blood group B in the woman. Okay, first of all, just to give you an idea so that you don't get lost too much, give me the genotype for the woman's blood group. Can I just have the genotype? I read the statement again. A man with blood group AB and a woman who is heterozygous for blood group B plan to have children. Telmo, let's hear what is the genotype for the blood group B in the woman.
Sir, I think is is allele I, B, and recessive small I.
Small I. Why did you pick that one? Why did you pick this combination?
Because it's heterozygous, so
exactly, guys.
both alleles are going to be.
Yeah, it's heterozygous, guys. Here they say a man with blood group AB and a woman who is heterozygous. The term heterozygous means that you've got a dominant allele and a recessive allele. In this case, they say it's heterozygous for blood group B. This is blood group B here. You guys can see blood group B here. So it means that the dominant allele is the one that is determining, because in a heterozygous condition, the dominant allele is the one that is shown in the phenotype. And we definitely know that this woman is having a blood group B. So we can say that the possibilities for blood group B, there are 2 of them. It can either be a homozygous dominant condition or it can be a heterozygous condition. But we take the heterozygous one because the statement told us so. So now, tell me now, what is the type of dominance expressed by this combination? What is the type of dominance expressed by this combination of this genotype, these alleles? What type of dominance is this?
It's heterozygous dominance.
Type of dominance, guys. There are only 3 types of dominance that we discussed about: complete dominance, incomplete dominance, and codominance. Those are the only 3 types. Guys, whenever they say types of dominance, you have to talk about either one of those and you give a reason for that. Yes, Amanda.
Sorry, sir, angikuvanga.
Oh,
Complete dominant.
complete dominance. Why complete? Why complete dominance, Hlelo?
Said because khona homo khona khetha letha le dominant le determine
Yes. Exactly, guys. If I'm having a dominant allele and a recessive allele, that is a complete dominance case because the dominant allele is masking the recessive allele. That's what complete dominance means, right? When we did the cross for the complete dominance, when this woman was being made or when this woman was inheriting these blood groups, these alleles from her parents, she inherited a dominant one and a recessive one because they say that she is heterozygous for blood group B. So basically, this means what? This means that it's a complete dominant scenario because one allele is dominant over the other. That's completely dominant, complete dominance. Okay. All right. Now use a genetic cross. Use a genetic cross to show all the possible genotypes and phenotypes of their children. Now we want to try and figure out the blood group types of their children. Let's start here. Remember, guys, whenever they say genetic cross, in this case, I said it's always monohybrid. You start with your P1, you state your phenotype. Let's just be quick on this one. So when I talk about the phenotype here, guys, remember we're talking about the blood groups. What is the first phenotype that we're having here? What first blood groups are we having there? What's the first one? Yes, Manda.
AB.
Yes, it's blood group AB. It is from the father, right? The male is blood group AB. And then we are crossing him with someone, with a female with blood group B. Blood group B, who is heterozygous. But you're going to express that in the genotype of the female that she's heterozygous. And then now, what about their genotypes? The one with blood group AB, what is the genotype for them? How are we going to write the genotype? Yes, Manda. Yes.
I to the power
A.
then I to the power B.
Yeah, I to the power A, I to the power B. And you are crossing this with the blood group B. Remember, already analyzed the female that is a heterozygous. So it's going to be I with a B, a capital letter B on top, the dominant and the recessive one, which is I. Then you now do the rest, guys. The rest that follows is meiosis here. Remember, meiosis occurs and then we produce gametes. So meiosis occurs so that we can produce gametes. The gametes, we're just going to separate this IA with the IB as we did, because each gamete will have their own alleles. And then IB, separate it with capital letter I. And then these gametes, they will fertilize with one another. So if fertilization occurs, what are the possible combinations of genotypes that we can get for the filiant generation or for the offspring generation? This IA, remember guys, it can go and match up with that AIB. So the first combination that we have, possible combination, is IA, IB. This is the first possibility if these two gametes get together. What about if we take this gamete with A, we cross it with this small letter I? We can see that's going to be IA with a small letter I. IA with a small letter I. Okay. And then what about this IB? Yes, Sam. Cross it with IB there.
So I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Can't we adding my exponents?
This is not mathematics. You're not adding any exponents there. It's IA, IB, no addition, none whatsoever.
Yes.
We wanted to add the exponents for real. Okay, this is IB now matching with I. You guys now know how to do the monohybrid cross. So these are the possible genotypes that we have for our filial generations. So these are the possible genotypes. If fertilization was to occur between these two, these gametes, the sperm cell and the ovum, if they were to meet, these are the possible genotype for our filial generation. And then now I want you guys to interpret these genotypes now, just so that you can find their phenotypes. Now count them one by one and tell me which one is which. Interpret these genotypes now. Quick. Let's interpret them, Pela guys. The first one, what is it? IAIB. What blood type is this?
AB.
Yes, so
That's right.
yeah, so we have got one combination with blood type AB. And then the following one, this one?
Dominant
Type
B.
Yes, dominant, homozygous dominant. So we have got one with B. And then what about the third one, guys? What about the third one? What blood type are we seeing in this third genotype? This one.
That type is.
Yes, it's blood type A. You guys can see that we've got a dominant allele for A there. It's like this is IA and a small letter I. It's a heterozygous condition for blood type A. So we're just going to say that that is going to be one. It's only one blood type like this, right? So it's one with blood type. And what about the fourth one, guys? What is the fourth one like? Yes, Trev.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, can teaching expression for layer dominant amabili for A and B. These are tinangithi layer for B and B. Sithi homozygous dominant leyi heterozygous. So if
No.
it's dominant is the
Now you don't call it anything. You don't call it anything. It's like you're having red and white, something like this. You don't call this homozygous or heterozygous or anything. That doesn't apply because none is dominant over the other. This is codominance type of scenario. We don't employ a term such as homozygous, heterozygous now. We don't really say it's homozygous dominant because we are talking about two. Yes, both of them are dominant, but they are different. Okay, we would call them homozygous if they were the same. Homozygous dominant, for example, this is blood type B, right? This one is blood type B and is in a homozygous dominant condition because we're having two alleles of blood type B and they are the same. But if we're having two different ones, there's no need for you. There's no need for you to say you're homozygous or heterozygous there. All right. But now I want to hear about the last one, guys. The last one, so that you can be able to complete the last phenotype. Which blood type is that? This one, the last genotype here.
B, sir.
Yes, B, and we already have B here, right? So actually we're having two possibilities of getting blood type B, but the other one is heterozygous, the other one is homozygous. So here we can just change it and say that this is two possibilities out of 4 of getting B. You don't separate them, guys. They've got the same phenotype. Remember here, we are doing the phenotypes. When we're doing the phenotypes, you look at the actual blood type. If it's AB, it's AB. If it is B, it doesn't really matter whether it's homozygous dominant or it's heterozygous. No, that doesn't matter. As long as the blood type is going to be B, then there are 2 of them because that's their phenotype. You don't really count them. You won't say this is one with heterozygous, one with homozygous. No, don't use those terms for the phenotype. Those terms are used to describe the genotype itself. Yes, Sam, what's your question?
You already answered me, sir.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you see that is very important to also listen, guys, because sometimes I may want to answer your question before you even ask it. Yes, Ehlelo.
Ukubuza sekuthi if mase silokhuza sesenza ama-things mase sisebenzisa ama-blood groups
Blood groups. Yeah, we are doing blood groups, guys. There. Yes.
Oh, wow. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Yeah. This is blood groups, guys. The phenotype in this case is blood groups. That's the physical characteristic we are referring to. Question 12 here. Don't know if everyone can see question 12, but this is your question 12 here. It's out of 9 marks based on these blood groups and stuff like that. Now, we'll just try to answer it right here and just annotate here. So, this question is saying human blood groups are controlled by multiple alleles. Multiple alleles. When they say multiple alleles, how many are we talking about? Because multiple means more than 2. How many alleles are we talking about that control blood groups? Yeah, we're talking about 3 of them. Yeah, so now they say name all the alleles that control human blood groups. Name all the alleles that control human blood groups. Which alleles are we going to have here? 12.1. Yes, Amanda. Yes, we've got this one. Yeah, it's the one for blood group A, the one for blood group B.
And small letter I.
Yeah, and then the one that controls or the one that is responsible for small letter I. Whenever they say name it, you don't really have to give names like formal names. You can just write the symbols IA, IB, and I. These are the alleles that are controlling blood groups in humans. And then how many of the alleles named in question 12.1 can any individual inherit? How many? Please listen to the question carefully. How many of these alleles mentioned in 12.1 can any individual inherit? I think they wanted to say can an individual inherit, but I think this still says the same. So how many of these alleles can an individual inherit?
In the genotype of an individual, the genotype of an individual, it shows 2 alleles there.
It's only one, guys. It's only 2.
I to the 4.
It's only 2, guys. When we're saying inherit here, guys, inherit, where are you inheriting them from? From your parents. You take one from your father. You take one from your mother. Simple stuff, guys. You take one from your father, one from your mother. One is coming from your father's sperm cell. Okay, that's one allele from your father's gamete. When we are doing the cross, we're talking about this. This is, let's just go to a cross so that you guys can see it. You guys shouldn't claim these crosses. You should understand why we're doing each and every step. This is an allele in a gamete of a father, okay? And then this is an allele in a gamete of a mother. And when we cross these, you as an offspring, what do? You inherit one from your father, you inherit one from your mother. So it depends on which combination you inherited. There are 4 combinations in total that you can inherit. There are 4 combinations. You can inherit IA, IB in this case. You can get IB, IB. You can get this one or you can get this one. Depends on which one you inherited. But you will inherit a maximum of 2. One from the mother, one from the father. That's your reason there. That's your reason. You cannot say only one, guys. It's not like a person is only made from one gamete. No. So inheriting, guys, this is genetics and inheritance. You are inheriting from your parents. There's no way of inheriting from anything else. Because it's like from parent generation, you are inheriting from your parents' gamete. Because for you to be the way you are, we did reproduction. We say that for a human to be the way that they are, what actually happens, what causes them to be like that, is because a sperm cell from the father and an ovum, their nuclei, they fused together to produce you, the zygote, which later became a human later on. Okay? So the sperm cell from the father comes with a chromosome with one allele. The one from your mother comes with another chromosome with one allele. And you inherit both of them when the nuclei overlaps or when the nuclei fuses during fertilization. So it's 2 here. Those are the maximum number. Then when you explain it, you explain that one is from the mother, one is from the father. That's that type of explanation. So it's one allele is inherited from each parent. One allele is inherited from each parent. So you inherit one allele from each parent. You can inherit if your mother has got this allele A, you can inherit it as well. If your father has got this one, you can inherit it as well. So the maximum that you can inherit there is 2 alleles. But it's a random process. No one determines which one you will actually receive from those combinations. So a man has blood group A, right? A man has got blood group A. So we've got a man here and their blood group is A. And then his wife has got blood group B. Their first child has a blood group AB and their second child has a blood group O. What can one conclude about the blood groups of their future children? 3 marks. Let's go. Read the statement again, understand it. A man has blood group A. His wife has blood group B. Their first child has got blood group AB. Their second child has got blood group O. What can you conclude about their future children? First of all, can you be able to work out the genotypes for the parents? A man with a blood group A, what is their genotype? Because remember, blood group A has got 2 possibilities. Blood group A has got 2 possibilities. All right. Blood group B also has got 2 possibilities, a homozygous dominant and a homozygous recessive. But now we have extra information. The first child is blood group AB. The second child is blood group O. What can you conclude about the blood groups of their future children? Yes, Telmo?
Sir, I think the parents are heterozygous.
Heterozygous. Okay, why would you say that they're heterozygous for their blood groups?
I'm not sure, but since the second child had blood group O, does it mean that the parents' blood group were heterozygous, the homozygous?
Okay, let's just try to prove that if that's true. This thing doesn't want to rub. Let's just try to see if that's true or not, okay? So Telmo here is saying that they must be all heterozygous. Okay, their first child, what do we notice about their first child? It's just open space, right? What do we notice about their first child? Okay, father has got blood group A. Mother has got blood group B. We hear that their first child has got blood group AB. So this is like IA, IB. Okay, so this is the blood group for the child number 1, first child. Okay. The second possible child there, okay, not the second possible child, the second child that they have has got blood group O, and we know that blood group O is II. This is the second child. This is obvious, guys, that these must be heterozygous for both their blood groups. Like this father here is heterozygous for blood group A. This mother is also heterozygous for blood group B as well. How do we see that? It's because we see that here, this second child has got blood group O. Blood group O, it consists of two recessive alleles, the small letter I and the small letter I. And guys, remember when we talked about inheritance, we said that the offspring can only inherit two alleles, one allele from the father, one allele from the mother. So the fact that the second child has got a small letter I and a small letter I, it means that one of these small letter I's is coming from the father, one of these small letter I's is coming from the mother. Okay. And then now you can now work it out. And you see that this is AB, this is IAB. The first child is a blood group AB. So we can conclude from here to say that one of these is coming from the father, one of these is coming from the mother. So we can trace it to them. But here you're gonna match them correspondingly because you see that the father is blood group A. So it means that this allele for blood group A is coming from the father, this allele for blood group B is coming from the mother. That's the analysis that you do there. So basically, you already know that the genotype for the blood groups for the mother and the father. So for the mother or for the father, it is IA and small letter I. And then for the mother, it is IB with small letter I. Where is the small letter I coming from, guys? We saw that their second child has got these two small letter I's. This child must have inherited from the parents, except if it happens that the mother cheated. Oh, yeah, that's the only possibility. If the mother cheated and they got involved with someone else, we could say something like that. But if these are biological parents, then we would say that these are their blood types. Now, to conclude about their future children, you just need to work out their combinations that they can have here. The combinations that they can have, you can even if you do a Punnett square or you do whatever it is that you do to cross this, you just want to see their possibilities. You can get IA, IB. This is AB. Okay. The other combination that you can get, it is this IA. You cross it with I here. This is blood type A. You guys already see that, right? And then the other combination, it is this I here with this blood type B here. Okay, so this is blood type B, allele with a small letter I. Then the last combination that you can do, it is this small letter I and this I here. You can use a Punnett square, guys. You don't have to make these sketchy things that I'm doing here. You can just use a Punnett square as you are taught in your class. So this will give me small letter I, small letter I. So whenever you're concluding about their future children, you can talk about their possibilities. So their future children can have blood type AB, they can have blood type B, they can have blood type A, or they can have blood type O. You explain that with details, and you should see their future children, when are now answering after doing this sketch of yours to find out or figure out their thing and figure out their genotypes, you can now say that their future children can either have a blood group AB. So let's just say future children. So their possible future children can have this one, the first one, which is blood type AB. Their first child is already blood type AB. So their future child, another future child, if the mom was to fall pregnant, they can still get another AB again. Okay. There is no actual law that says you cannot repeat the child with the same blood type. Fertilization, guys, is random. Remember that. These are just possibilities. These are the possible genotypes that would get if fertilization was to occur. All right. So their future children can either have blood type AB, they can have blood type B, heterozygous. They can have blood type B, heterozygous. You mentioned that when I explaining. They can have a heterozygous blood type B, or they can have a heterozygous blood type A, or they can have blood type O. So these are the combinations. These are the possible combinations that their future children can get. It now depends on which sperm cell was able to fertilize which ovum. And then we can get one of these combinations as the actual child. Just like we got here, what the first child is having this one, the second child is having this one. Do you guys kind of get the sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, guys, this needs a lot of analysis. Try your best to analyze whenever you're doing this, all right? Okay, let's do one more. Okay, Manda is saying that, say, is this possible that we are given the offspring genotype and we're expected to find the parent's genotype or phenotype using the monohybrid cross? For example, we are given the blood type of siblings only. Yes, it's very possible, guys. It's very possible. For example, even this example that we are doing right now, the example that we just did, we are given we're already given the blood types. We are given the blood types for the children. The first child having AB, the second child having O. So from this, you can be able to see their genotypes, that this first one is going to be IAIB. This one is going to be I. This one is going to be I. And then now you are going to trace it back and try to see what their parents, the parents there, what combinations might they have had. Okay. The parents, what combinations might they have had. It's very possible as well. It's just what we did exactly right now. Okay, let's do the last activity, guys, for blood groups. Mr. and Mrs. Fonella are concerned that their baby girl does not appear to resemble either of them. This is a serious case, guys. So here, this couple is concerned that their baby girl is not looking like any one of them, doesn't resemble any one of them. So they suspect that the baby they were given at the hospital was not theirs. So they think that the baby given at the hospital was not theirs. Now, Mr. Fonella has got blood type AB. Miss Fonella is blood type B. And the baby they were given is blood type O. So Mr. Fonella is AB. Miss Fonella is blood type B. And the baby that they were given is blood type O. Now, let's see, what are the possible genotypes for Mrs. Fonella? Because they say that the blood type for Mrs. Fonella is blood type B. What possible genotypes can we have for the blood type B? What are the possible genotypes that you can have for blood type B? What are the possible, guys? Yes, Amanda?
We can have IB and IB or IB and recessive I.
Yes. So you can have these two. So you can have the one which is in a homozygous dominant, whereby you have got two dominant alleles, all for blood type B. Or you can have one dominant allele for blood type B and the small letter I. Okay. Now, they say you also look at the mark allocation, guys. This is 2 marks. So it means that you are given a mark for each possible genotype. Now, for this baby girl now, if the possible genotype for this baby girl, and it's only 1 mark. Yes, Telmo?
It's 2 small letter I's.
Yes, it's definitely 2 small letter I's, guys. There's definitely no other ways. It's 2 small letter I's. 2 small letter I's. Okay, those are the possible genotypes for the baby girl, because basically it's blood type O. And then explain why this baby girl with blood type O cannot be Mr. and Mrs. Fonella's daughter. Explain. 3 marks. You are explaining why this baby girl with blood type O. Yes, Telmo?
Sir, I think since Mr. Fonella's blood type is AB, it means that his blood type is dominant, ne? So even if Mrs. Fonella was IB, small letter I, it can't be small letter I's because of the Mr. Fonela's dominant blood type. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
I think you are making sense, but you need to explain for 3 marks. You need to use the actual genotype, guys, whenever you're explaining so that it makes sense. So Mr. Fonela, we already know that the blood type or the genotype for his blood type has got what? It is IA, IB. This is definitely for sure. We are not doubting this because the blood type AB has got only one possible genotype. It is IA and IB, like this codominance. Yes, Rolly?
So I think it's because sure, the mother has like one allele that can make a blood type O, but the other parent doesn't have. So there's no way we can have a blood type O.
Exactly. So now you talk about the baby girl first to say that the baby girl's genotype, the mother can definitely be correct, but the father, definitely not. The baby girl's genotype is small letter I, small letter I. So which is impossible to say that. Remember, guys, that this I and this I, they are inherited from the parent. Okay, each parent. Remember, each parent, they give one allele to their offspring, right? So basically, this baby girl, since the her genotype is small letter I, one of the small letter I, it is coming from her mother, another I is coming from her father. And in this case, the alleged father, which is Mr. Fonela, doesn't have. That's the most important thing to say. You now say Mr. Fonela does not have the recessive allele to be able to make the blood type O for the baby girl. Okay. So Mr. Fonela does not have this recessive allele. You can mention it, recessive allele I. Okay? Does not have the recessive allele I to donate or to give to the baby. Because the baby's genotype is saying that she has inherited small letter I from the father, small letter I from the mother. But Mr. Fonela does not have this small letter I to give to the baby girl, or you can put it in more better terms, okay? Okay, because for the mother, we can see that the mother, she has got it's possible for the mother to be this other genotype. The mother can have this genotype, this small letter I. The mother can be in a heterozygous condition. That is way possible, right, for the baby girl. But now, as for Mr. Fonela, the fact that Mr. Fonela doesn't have any recessive allele in his genotype, it means that he cannot be able to give a baby a recessive allele which he doesn't have, because the baby clearly has got 2 recessive alleles, and these 2 recessive alleles are from the parents. Remember, guys, that the alleles here, a baby inherits, an offspring inherits the alleles from the parents. So the fact that we're having 2 alleles, one is from the baby, the biological father of the baby, and the biological mother of the baby, one each. But since Mr. Fonela doesn't have that, Mr. Fonela cannot be the father to the baby girl. You can put it in your own words, guys, but what's most important, try your best whenever you're explaining such questions. Use actual genotypes. Don't just explain in a vague way. You must point to actual genotypes to say that Mr. Fonela has got this genotype. The mother has got this genotype. The baby girl has got this genotype. Now, the baby girl must have inherited this from the parents, but Mr. Fonela does not have this. So Mr. Fonela cannot be the parent. You put it in your own terms, but try your best to give the actual genotypes so that the marker can be able to say, this person understands what if this child is having these 2 alleles, they are coming from the parent. And if the parents are not having them, it means that they're not biological parents. We kind of get the sense, guys.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you put it in your own words, but you explain each and every portion with genotypes. Yes, Mwako.
So if Mr. Fonella doesn't have the allele to inherit to the baby girl, and the mother has, which means the baby belongs to the mother but not the father, right?
The baby can, let's just say the baby can be the mother's baby. Can be, let's put a can, because we don't really know the mother's genotype. Since the mother is having blood type B, there are two possibilities. Remember 13.1a, they say give the possible genotypes. The mother can either be capital letter B, that's homozygous dominant, or the mother can be heterozygous. We don't know which one is which. But if the mother is heterozygous, it is possible for the mother to be the actual baby. But when the question is saying, explain why the baby girl with blood type O cannot be Mr. and Mrs. Fonella's daughter, they are combining all the parents all together to say that this child is not their child. So try your best. Once we say that the child does not belong to the father, it means that it's not their child. Kind of get the English right. Say that it's not their child. They explain why the baby cannot be Mr. and Mrs. Fonella's daughter. So once we say that Mr. Fonella cannot be able to give the recessive allele, then automatically it's not their child. It can be the child's mother, yes, can be. It's a possibility, if provided that the mother has got this small letter I. The mother is in a heterozygous condition for blood group B. But if the mother is not in that as well, then it's both not their child, both not their daughter as well. You guys kind of get the sense.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And then now explain why the use of blood type for paternity testing is not conclusive. Explain why the use of blood type for paternity testing is not conclusive. Remember, guys, paternity testing, we're trying to test out who is your father, right? So to try and test out who's your father, we cannot really conclude using blood types. If I wanna try to say what are you fatherly related to this man, I don't really take blood types. I have to do DNA profiling. That's a better way of determining or doing paternity testing. DNA profiling, the one that we did in term 1. But explain why blood type using blood type cannot be a better method, cannot be a conclusive method. Why can we not be able to conclude if we were to use blood types to test for paternity? Anyone with an idea? Yes, Sam?
Okay, so I think it's because of anyone can have the same blood type then, but when it comes to I think it's because of everyone it can happen with either the same blood type but different DNA.
Okay, that's something. Yes, Trevor.
So it can happen that if the mother said did not okay, so it can happen that if the mother did not do the deed with the father, and it can still show that the child that they have is still their child with the father and the mother, because the child can inherit the allele B of the mother and still inherit another allele with the recessive, which is I, and then his genotype can have I to the power of B and I. So, and if the father can take that, maybe that I to the power of B, it comes from him, and then the recessive one, which is I, it comes from the mother.
Okay, you did give quite a couple good example there. I try to generalize it because I did hear the example of you said if the mother didn't do the deed with the correct person or something like that. Hey, yeah, what a heavy explanation for a textbook. Realistically, what you are saying is correct, but we need to put it in a more shorter way. Yes, Amanda.
Many people can share the same blood type, so you can identify a specific father by using blood type group.
Yes, exactly. So you guys have got wonderful explanation. You guys understand this. So basically, as I've already told you guys that the blood group is not unique to a particular individual. That's the explanation that you can give there. Blood group or blood type is not unique. So the blood type or the blood group is not unique to particular individuals. And then now you can explain what this means. That this means that two or more individuals can share the same blood type, which means that two or more individuals can share the same blood type. Because it's not unique, right? Can share same blood type. So can share the same blood type. So I cannot really conclude and say, Utimina, this is my baby just because we have the same blood type, because there can be any other man who can be able to give the same blood type, and it's not me. And we are sharing with that man the same blood type. So those combinations are something.